Jarrod Glandt is a sales expert. He's a practitioner. He's in the trenches, and he is VP of Sales over at Cardone Training Technologies. And here are his 5 steps to thriving in sales.
We make cold calls out of our office every day. We've got, we sell a platform called Cardone University. It's a sales training program that we sell to companies that have sales teams so that they can increase their production, right? We are calling cold in most cases business owners, executives, big companies, small companies, long sales cycles, short sales cycles. We're calling everybody, and we spend the majority of our time with our team role playing all skill levels, experienced team, rookie sales team. We spend the majority of our time role playing the objections that you get in the first bit of the call. So in the very beginning of the call. The reason I think that that's so important is because a lot of things are coming together in a very short period of time. So when you say, is it about confidence? 100%. Is it about training? 100%. Is it about the amount of repetition that you've had actually going through and role playing and drilling? 100%. It becomes more of a refined skill and an instinct at the beginning of the call, whereas kind of towards the end of the call, it can be telegraphed. You're comfortable, you're in most cases 30 minutes into a conversation. So the stakes are much, much lower. So, I think I would rather have a salesperson that could get in the door on the front end and create an opportunity in the first place than somebody who sucks on the front side of it, but, is average at the end. It's the only way you're going to get good at handling objections. Like role play and drilling is hands down. It's like, I use this analogy a lot. If you look at the best footballer or the best hockey player or basketball player, or if you look at the best golfer, if you look at the top athletes, the people making all the money, like the big money, you're like, man, I want to be like that. I want to be like LeBron. I want to get LeBron paychecks. You know how much work LeBron puts in before he even gets on the court? Like I read this article about Michael Jordan, and he said, dude, I trained so hard that the games were easy. Like the game was the easy part for me. Training was the hard part. And so in business, like I've got no shot at being LeBron James or Jordan Spieth or Rory McIlroy or whoever, I have no chance at being that level of a professional athlete. I can make a shitload of money as a salesperson. So if I want to be paid like a professional salesperson, then my training needs to reflect that. And I rarely come across sales organizations that effectively role play and train. And it's because salespeople don't like doing it, and believe me, if everybody doesn't like doing something, there's money to be made there. If it's something that everybody's pushing away from, there's a massive opportunity in there waiting to be capitalized on. And so role play is a mandatory part of our daily training activity in our office. It gets the word. It's about the repetition. A handful of people have written about the 10,000 hour rule. You do something for 10,000 hours, you master it. In my mind, when you become a master, that's when you make money as a salesperson. You become a master salesperson. Most people don't practice 10 hours in a year in role play. They do it maybe once a month for 30 minutes with their manager at their review, or once a quarter. It's just not something that's a part. So I think it's a mindset switch. And today you got to be better than ever. Like you don't have the luxury of that you did in years past, right? Now the consumer is much more educated. Now the resources that they have available to them are far more expansive and far greater. The salesperson, the amateur salesperson, is becoming less valuable. The salesperson that cannot produce, that cannot cold call, that cannot fill a pipeline, that cannot close deals, that cannot follow up, the amateur salesperson that cannot do those things is becoming obsolete. The only people that will be left remaining in a digital age where larger and larger transactions are taking place without a salesperson involved, the only person left standing at the end of the game is the pro. Is sales changing to the point where, the cold call is becoming less valuable because of demand generation and inbound leads and content marketing and all that stuff. And that's fine. But you become an effect of something else rather than the cause of it. So, dude, can we put content out every day that drives somebody to a lead page to download an ebook, and then we can call somebody up, a warm lead, and call somebody up and see if there's an opportunity there? Totally. But when I have a salesperson that can walk in and go, I want to take down Sprint Wireless or Ashley Furniture or whoever, and they can go out and they can pick up the phone and make that happen. I got Steve Spray right now. He's like, I'm going to take down Ashley Furniture, which is in the States. It's I'm sure they have them there too. They're massive furniture company, largest furniture company in the country. And dude, he picked up the phone and he's picking them off. He's picking all the people off as he goes, because he's like, I'm a sniper. I can go in early. I can take out the key targets and I can allow the team to advance. So is it the skill you should be doubling down on? Of course, 100%. Because those are the most skilled people. Those will be the Navy SEALs of your sales team. And then when you as a company want to say, hey, we need to penetrate this industry, there's two cycles that we talk about. We talk about the business cycle, and then we talk about the sales cycle. There's two separate cycles. So we operate as salespeople in the sales cycle. The company operates in the business cycle. Their job is to spend money to market and promote, and grab attention and create traffic that leads into the sales process. Salespeople get hung up in this sales process. If you work for a big company, you are a function of the business cycle. You are waiting for the billion-dollar company who went out and did a $200 million raise from a venture capital company that has money to spend. You are an effect of that system, that ecosystem. For most entrepreneurs, small business owners, people that are operating in a company right now that they feel doesn't provide them with adequate opportunities, they operate in this business or in this sales cycle, right? Like they are transactional. They don't have the ability to go out and spend the money. So as a salesperson, if you want to create more opportunity rather than being the effect of an opportunity given to you, you must learn to cold call, because it's the only way that you can do it. I think that handling objections is 90% of cold calling. Those conversations come together really, really quick. But on a cold call, you are going in as a targeted assassin. You're walking into a narrow alleyway with corners and curves and potential bogeys or, enemy fighters around every corner. And the only way that you win is to be prepared. So the only way that skill gets developed is through role play, training, education, repetition. And so in a cold call, for example, I mean, really, when you talk about objections, period, it's like there's real objections, true obstacles to getting the deal done. There's fake objections, which are fabrications, made up reaction responses. And then there's the deep-rooted, unspoken objection that most salespeople never get down to. And so on a cold call, the objection handling process is typically dealing with a fake objection, a reactionary defense response. I'm not interested. We're just looking. We're good. Don't have the time for this. It's a preset automaticity that people have in their communication path when they get something unexpected put in front of them. The amateur salesperson gives up, right? Because they're not prepared. Because if I got a group of 100 people and I said, who likes making cold calls and handling objections? 5 of them raise their hand, right? Maybe 3, I don't know. But if I said, if I could show you a way where you could handle any objection with any customer, any industry, any position, any title, any day, any time, I could show you a way that I could guarantee I could do that. Would you like making cold calls? Would you like going into closing situations? How excited would you be to get some objections? If you knew you could handle them, everybody'd raise their hand. So it comes down to people understanding how to do it the right way. And so again, opening cold call, it's a quick, fast-paced handling of a reactionary response. Later on in the deal, you're basically probably going to be presented with 1 or 2 false, fake, made-up objections before you can really get down to what the real problem is. If you called me and tried to sell me something right now at the office, I'd say, hey man, not interested, don't have the time, and I'd hang up, okay? Now, if you called the office and said, hey, I've got a way to sell 1,000 tickets to your 10X GrowthCon in 2018, I'd be like, man, I got all the time in the day for you, right? Because that's something I have my attention on right now is, hey, how do I sell 8,000 tickets to this event? So there's not one person on the planet who cannot make the time for something if it's important enough. If it's something they have attention on, if it's something that they have, they have this a gushing wound and they need a Band-Aid for it ASAP, there is like, there's not one person who wouldn't make the time for that. I work with GrantCardone, right? Worth a couple $100 million. He's chasing 4 or 5 $90 million real estate deals right now, flying to different cities. I get him for 15 seconds on a phone call. Hey, how's everything going? Good. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Right. The second I start talking about something that actually has interest on him, hey, how are we going to sell more of these tickets? Hey, I got an idea about this. He got all the time in the world. So again, on an opening cold call, large percentage of what you hear are not true real objections. And later on in the process, as you start really working into the deal, hopefully if you've done your job asking questions and presenting the product, then and doing all the right things up front, then you're going to know a lot of the objections that they're going to have to moving forward.